Hey y'all, how y'all doing today? Coming back, like I said, I would with the installed mount. Took a little longer than I'd wanted, than I was comfortable with, but as you can see, just barely down in there, we've got the new mount. Oh, that's a much better picture right there. Okay, I do apologize for the stuff that's in the way, but it's kind of these are necessary items. As you can see, I've got the new one in there. These, let me get my big hand down in here so I can point stuff out. These these bolts thread into this aluminum bracket right here, which bolts to the engine. There's four bolts that bolted to the engine. They come up this way and thread right into the engine block. One thing you got to be careful with is if you are replacing these, you do want to lubricate the threads with at least with something, preferably anti-seize. If you don't have that, whether it's copper anti-seize or the silver anti-seize, either one of those would be perfect. But if you don't have that, at least some sort of oil or maybe even some penetrate. I mean, just something because they can gall and they can strip out, and it's very, very easy for them to do that. You're going right into aluminum. Um, this particular bolt here, somebody had been on this before and they put too short a bolt in there, so I had to come back. I had to find a longer bolt, put it in there, and that's that. Um, and then it tightened right up, and it was happy days. So it took a little longer than I wanted. The vertical bolts here, um, you can get to them relative this front one a lot easier than the back one. There's another one back here. You can get to the back one by going underneath the car. I've got the car jacked up, of course. What you want to do though is you want to once you get them started and started in their bolts, then you want to come in with a 16 millimeter socket, a universal, and a long extension. Okay. I guess you can do this with like a wrench down here, although, I like the method I suggested with the extension because it's just quicker, it's easier, you can do it, um, and you can get some torque on it a lot better than sitting here with just one hand and doing this number with a wrench. Uh, even with like a ratcheting wrench. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you get that thing down in there. Once you let the engine down, you want to put these two top bolts in, these horizontal bolts, you want to put them in first. Then once you let this down, you want to make sure that there's a tang right here. There's a little uh, piece that points down, or a tang. It goes into a groove. You want to make sure that they line up. That's what that tang is supposed to do. It's supposed to line up with that groove so that it lines up, so that the bolt holes line up and the bolt can go in, and there's a welded on threaded nut onto the bottom side of this. So I guess if you live in the more regions up north where they have a lot more road salt and stuff like that, you might want to use some anti-seize on these bolts as well. Okay. Like I've said before, anti-seize is your friend. Okay, one of your best friends when you're doing this work. Anyway, but like I said, yeah, you want to make sure and use anti-seize on these bolts because the threads can fail and you can have serious issues. You want to make sure and take care of that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's get back. All right. Also, too, one more little thing. This in particular engine has an aluminum oil pan, and I think in most applications it does. However, you might find a few that has a steel, stamped steel oil pan. See the aluminum oil pan right there. So you see I've got the jack sitting on it. It's got a big wide base there on it to spread the load out, which is nice. Now, if you don't have a wide base on your jack, you're using a little small jack. You want to use probably like a piece of wood to help spread out the load. If you got a stamped steel oil pan, this one's aluminum. But if you have a stamped steel oil pan, you want to use Like I said, if you're using a stamped steel oil pan, you want to use a piece of wood there on that. You may even want to try to jack up on the harmonic balancer itself. That's another little thing you can do sometimes. If you have a cherry picker, there you go, even better. So anyway, this little job's done. I'm going to put, all I'm like now is just putting air intake, air filter box and air intake hose on, and then that little job is done. Then I'm off to the next job. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for watching. If you got any questions, comments, ideas, creative criticism, anything, put it down there below. And you can find me on Instagram, SlantFish65. Okay. Thank you very much, and God bless. Have a great one.